Kunzang Chögyal Portugal Kunzang Chögyal Dza First, I would like to say welcome everybody, and secondarily, we are quite very excitement moment. It's like I've been in Portugal many times. I couldn't count how many times I've been in Portugal, but this time we found it quite very nice place, and then Matthew bought this, and then for us, maybe in the future, if someone wanted to practice Buddha's teaching, the philosophy, and his teaching of the Dharma, and also maybe someone wants to meditate, maybe contemplate, and more to make the retreat some in this place, quite very beautiful, delight, and demoted, like almost at all the completely the qualities of the hermitage place, and the place of this is very difficult to find, very rare. Then maybe it's like, of course, this is the first times, and we can put a little bit hope. Generally speaking, whoever follow the Buddha's teachings, of course, they understood the disturbing emotion of the hope and the fear. And in that perspective, we do not need to put such a hope, but in the relatively, of course, everything is depends the cause, and also the affective of the result depends the cause. And if we have good wish and good attitude, good conduct, maybe to be or something is well appear, comfortable, happy, harmony, and joy, and solidarities probably appear in this place. Generally, of course, in the Portugal's wonderful country, development, everything's quite nice, and also now become more and more popular, and weather, people, food, and land is wonderful. And today is like we are preparing for the tomorrow inauguration, and just tomorrow we can small inauguration, and it's like one my master, Dzogchen Ranyak Patrul Rinpoche, and this teacher, and it's very sorry, maybe if he can come, he see this picture, maybe he will angry, but sorry, he doesn't like this kind of artificial or acting things. But this is we will ask to him for just a benefit for us. Maybe we will ask to him to ask forgiveness, and maybe in the futures, maybe we hope. But he's the very famous in Tibet master, and also is like learned scholar and highest reincarnation in Tibet. He's 77 almost years old, but he's homeless. He hasn't got properly shelter, and also he doesn't like some monastery, and to have some big monastery or to something high position, completely hidden yogi, and it's difficult to arrange something. He's like a kind of the beggar, and where he is, of course, most times he's doing dharma activity, but it's like it's difficult to say he's there and what he's doing, and we just to watch his kind of movement and listen his voice, and then we need to imaginately or the guess maybe he will to there, and maybe we can to see him possibility like this. And last year I was here almost 2 weeks, and in the seaside, and he was very, very happy. And also it's like kind of, he told me something, if you settle something in here, maybe beneficial. And then certainly also we found this maybe also his wish and his prayer and his blessing. And like this, and now today is all our families, and some I never met before. There's 2 wonderful Portuguese ladies, and 1 Germanese, and the others is, I think it's almost, we are a little struggling, and but very much hard families all the time. Not necessarily something, but all of you are welcome, and we'll be very happy. And today also we are going to study, there's one Patrul Rinpoche. It's the first Patrul Rinpoche. It was quite a great master, and his some books, and maybe now we have almost 9-10 volumes, and inside is a great and teaching, and also it's like give advice and for daily life, and of course, and also it's best advice how to practice Dharma, and how we can apply the liberation path of the Buddha's path. And in the monk of them, and there is one small book, and very compact, like consummated, like teachings. And that is called the Advice to Kunzang Chögyal, the way to practice the complete body of the Dharma, renunciation, bodhicitta, authentic view, and the rest. Then, and this is a short title, Advice to Kunzang Chögyal. The Kunzang Chögyal is his very close student, very great practitioner, great yogi, and he asked to his own master of the first, the Dza Patrul Rinpoche, and how I can to practice Dharma very short way, very easy way, and how I can to practice. Then he gave this book. He wrote it direct by himself. And also this title is quite long and a little bit elaborated. I mean, it's like generally we call the Advice to Kunzang Chögyal. Advice, it is quite very important. The advice is like generally speaking is kind of give suggestions, and since we born in this world, in the human realms, and we obtain the human existence, and then it's like start to communicate with the parents, of course, and then it's like we need advice by the parents, how to eat, how to work, and how to grow up, and also how to learn the human language. And of course, we receive basic advice from the parents, and to basic educations, and we ask to them how we become the good, happy, comfortable life. And parents cherish or look after and us, of course, that kindly. And then is when we more grow up to become the teenagers, since we start in the kindergarten, and then we rely on different teacher, and then we listen to the teacher's advice, how they can to teach, which kind of subject matter, and also it's like when we being in the kindergarten, and of course also it's like the basic, the teachers, how it is the skill, how is the way of the teaching to us. And also it's like when we receive the good advice, the educations and the beginning, and that is the grateful for us. And each moment time is passing by, and we are more and more grow up, and time never, it's waiting for us. And day by day, week by week, month by month, year by year. And we kind of grow up, and then it's like there's between educations some gap or lost the times, and some missing lessons, and also for us not very good. Then therefore it's like we all the times rely on the teachers, and teachers to give us advice how to study, how you can to settle in our life. And then we go to in the universities, and then it's like what we receive, the advice, the teachings, educations. And then there everybody asks to us to say which kind of you will to become, doctor or professor or science or any kind of other, like a kind of the professional. And therefore the advice is quite very, very important. And then it's like when we become the more adult, and probably like a kind of to settle the life, and need to make the develop our own self fully to get the responsibilities, need to look after our life, families, arrangement. And then it's like we kind of two like activities, and these two activities to support to our life. One is the worldly activities, and the worldly activities, how you make the business, how you can to develop your family, how you look after your families, and also of course then we start our own like kind of nest to how you can to settle. And we all the time is ask to the advice. I make a joke. Yesterday we went to in the shop, and when we need to buy small things, we go to their servers or the information desk, and could you give us advice where we can to get, where we need to go to directions, and which shop is the best. And like this in the worldly, we all the times ask advice. I'm going to do like this and that. And some sympathetic, compassionate, good, and also someone has great experience for lives. Maybe this person's more senior, and like maybe is to have some experience. And then this person's to give advice to us, quite wonderful. And we can to easily to traveling, to easily to arrange our life. Maybe good through the good advice, worldly, and maybe we settle the wonderful life, family, and financially, and everything is quite correct. But sometimes also then it's like kind of in our heart some missing. Maybe it's like the material level. Probably we achieved quite very good. Not depends any others. We are completely managed. We are completely kind of satisfied or contentment. But most human beings then start kind of inside problems is occurring, only rely on the materials. Then we have second activities we call the spiritual activities. And spiritual activities is not much relate to the material. Its spiritualities are all the times relate to the mind. And of course, it's like a kind of true belief, and a little bit like a kind of the same as the materialism, materials beliefs. For example, we can to say it's like when I'm thirsty, I want to drink this tea, and I like kind of trust this tea. I want to believe this tea, in this tea can take away my thirsty. And the same way, sometimes when we are inner, it's a difficult things, something in our heart, sometimes uncomfortable, and it's difficult to talk, difficult to express. Maybe we can say we have a good family, good everything's worldly, but something uncomfortable. And in these situations, and then it's like many people follow the spiritualities. And of course, there's a different type of the spiritualities. And someone's completely believe, some externally. It doesn't matter humans to humans, or doesn't matter something externally, or it's something in the space, some powerful, like create, like God or deities. And we believe that maybe they come to support to us. And most in this our human realms, human beings. And when they follow the spiritualities, they believe externally something. But it's like more than 2,000 years ago in India, there's one princess, is called the Siddhartha. When he born, and in one kingdom, in the Shakya kingdom, and when he are born, and when he's become a little bit grew up, matured, he all the time is looking the insect and the other sentient beings, other like things, how they are, which kind of relationship, which kind of feeling, and like sometimes to look at the ants, is they are carrying the many like grass, and they are making the path, they are creating the nest, and also sometimes the disagreement, they killing each other, and something, and he very much to analyze, and like this, and then it's like more and more grow up, and he has everything. His father was very rich, of course, is king, and his mother's died, but afterwards the auntie, mother's sisters look after him, and then it's like he's grow up. His education was fantastic, and his support at the sport is like any kind of arts he studied, and he's become the science powers. It's like all the India educations he received, and he's become very famous, like called the Princess Siddhartha. Prince Siddhartha. And then it's like when he married, his queen, or his wife was very beautiful, and then it's like when he become the 32 years old, and he went to outside the palace. There he saw that some such different situations, like someone's big sufferings, old age, sickness, death, that is the common. And also different, there's unpleasant circumstances. And then it's like he asked, one day I will become old, one day I will sick, one day I will be dies, of course, his attendant says, yes, my lord, it doesn't matter you are royal, it doesn't matter you're rich, it doesn't matter you are powerful. That is it's a pervasive, it's kind of the situation we cannot avoid. And then he says, how we can to help each other. Maybe we can to help each other. Said, who can to help? Maybe it's like he say externally someone's to help to us. And then of course he returned to the palace and he asked to the father. He says, father said to him, my darling, did you enjoy your holidays? And the father is enjoyed my holidays, awful, and nothing happiness. But you never ever told to me how is going on our kingdom in the outside the human beings. It's no need to mention about the animals, but humans. And he talk about these situations, and he carrying one ash, one is the people burials, and after how does the classmate to burn. Yeah, and then he carry, one day you become this ash, one day I will become this ash. And who can to help us? And of course, fathers more Hinduism, or maybe it's some Shiva, or in the space, or maybe, but don't think about that. Just enjoy it. He has serves 500 ladies, Indians, dancing, drink, and massage every day like this. Just enjoy it to follow up the entertainment. And why you constantly like this? Then he says I need to find something solution to, now I'm already 32 years old, until now difficult to find the solutions. And then of course he gave up, he ran away. He asked to the wife to say, I need to find solution. And of course his sons both and stay in the palace. If I find something solutions, I will return back. Until there's anyway, if I'm stay here, it's just to everyday enjoy it, to follow, and music, delicious food, dancing. Life is running out, and I'm going to some searching research. If I find, I will come back. Could you please waiting in the palace? Of course, wife is not happy, but anyway, he left. And he went to the outside and different place, particularly there's one river called the river Janas. And there's many kind of sadhus and yogis, wearing white clothes and long hair, and to white kind of put ashes in the face and carrying the stick and to pray. And also they practice Vindu, Chana, Prams, and full of. And he asked about these situations, and if we problems inside sufferings, who can to help to us? Most they said it's you should to believe and to practice the maybe someone's to give you blessing, maybe someone's to liberate to use. And then he asked to them, who can to do it? If someone can do it, someone has this power, why these persons don't do right now? And I'm included myself, but how many is sentient beings, human beings, sufferings? And why don't do that? It's very difficult to follow this kind of path. And of course, many made science, philosophies, and but it's very difficult to follow. And then it's his own journey, this spiritual journeys. He look at only his own mind, how it's to do. And finally, he says, I discovered something in my heart. That's all, it's nothing externally. And that is I discovered my own true nature of the mind. And in the Buddhist philosophic perspective, we call the Buddha nature, your own nature of the mind. And if this is the realized, that's recognized, it's like a kind of peace. It can make the free from the fear and hopes. and these sufferings. And then it's like one day, after the 6 years, he's a completely fully awakened and become the enlightened man, name of the Buddha. And then it's become the extraordinary and the mankind compassionate and most kind of wise, and of course generally we call the omniscient series, to understand everything is an unbelievable human existence, like a human beings. And then it's become the very well known in India, and he returned back to see the father and the mother and wife and his sons, and everybody was surprised, and of course everybody follow him, and everybody is become the same as him. And like this, afterwards, then these traditions came, and according to his traditions, and we is believed very much our heart, and entirely we depends happy or sorrow. It depends our mind, and if we are taking care of our mind, if we are to manage our minds, and we are not dependent any at all, and if we can to manage our mind, if we can to really realize our own the true nature of the reality, the mind is, then it's our happiness, our the freedoms, our peace, our the inner realization. It is not depends the Buddha, it not depends the God, it not depends the any teachers, and completely inner freedom, inner peace, inner realizations. And therefore, and this is the Buddhist spirituality, and also is generally speaking, spiritualities, maybe it's a little bit incorrect, and normally it's a spirit. Spirit sometimes in English language your heart, or maybe spirit means it's something externally you believe that. And the Buddhist perspective, Buddha's philosophicals, not really spirituality. It is kind of the science of the mind. It is kind of researcher of the mind, and the kind of the for the meditations, and contemplate and more look after the own individual mind. And therefore it's the science of the mind, or the researcher of the true realities, like this. And that perspective, here's the advice. Basically advice comes from of the Buddha Shakyamuni. And then of course, and he told 84,000 teachers, inconceivable. This is normal, some human beings cannot do teaching like this. He taught to us more than the 40 years, and of course most of lost, but now it's currently we have very short one. It's more than the 108 volumes, and inside this all necessities, everything there is, and all the advice how to worldly and to do the how we can to arrange in our life, and of course inner kind of the mind path or mind set how we can to do, and there is but this is quite large, deep, profound, and it's difficult to look. But then is after, of course there are such his followable disciples, or we can to say there's some Zen is become his level, and to be enlightened man. This kind of masters, to make the resume consummated, is to put the centralized and very easily to understand, easily to read, easily to practice, and then it's very much pit advice, very much crucial advice, very much summarized advice, and this kind of here's And then is the first Patrul Rinpoche is very much learned in Tibet. Is very, very famous. And of course, in our Western, his book, most famous books, is called The Word of My Perfect Teacher. And this is like in Tibet, we have 4 schools of the Buddhist path. But each schools, they are studying these books, and like this. And then he give advice to Kunzang Chögyal is a wonderful things. And the way to practice it completely body of the Dharma, what does it mean? Really, it's like when you call the Dharma, Dharma is like the teaching of the Buddha. Of course, there's many different meaning in English or in the Sanskrit. Dharma means it's phenomena, and also Dharma is the teaching of the Buddha, and also it's like all the what we need to study things, and like this. But in the teaching of the Buddha's perspective, the Dharma means it is like kind of the to make the peaceful mind, kind mind, and the cheerful mind, and particularly body, speech, mind. Our mind is maybe it's like generally speaking, in the coding our habitual patterns. In the patterns, it's like behaviors, characteristics. Maybe it's like if we believe or not believe in the periods our life. But since we born in this world and different circumstances, different atmospheres, and we have different influence, and sometimes very much negative patterns, and like kind of the killing, stealing, doing sexual misconduct, and lying, give harsh word, very aggressive, and very much follow the self or intent, and it's like kind of fully the like concerning the self, and I need happiness, I need everything. It's not much concerning to the others, and it's like my family, my country, or my own self, and like this kind of this hard body, speech, mind is very, how do you say, it's like not soft, and not really, it's like a kind of the convenience or the like very difficult to suitable to others. I mean, our own individual perspective, we say, I'm correct, I'm a good person, my behavior is good, why not? But reality, to others to look at us, sometimes we have very much strange characteristics, we have very strange like kind of behaviors, and a lot of our family situations, problems, because it's difficult to see, to look, or to realize it, our own individual defects. And it's the meaning of the dharmas to like really to digging and like kind of direct to see our own individual defects and negative behaviors, negative characteristics. And then it's like we recognize that, yes, I have this kind of error. And if I'm continue to carry this kind of error, I have problem with my family, I have problem with friend, with problem, all the time problems. And the problems is making the life is a hindrance and a lot of sufferings. And in this perspective, according to the Dharma, how we can to change. There's some advice from the Dharmas, how we can to become kindness, openness, cheerful. And it's like kind of people to see the two ours very much like happy, and ourselves is very much like delightful, and it's like whoever coming close to us and receive the happiness, kindness, and also it's like maybe negative behaviors to stop the killing, stealing, doing sexual misconduct, lying, giving harsh word, these things. And then it's become more compassionate, honest, direct. And then it's like, even in our human families, it's become fantastic. And then it's like, we say, it's like, I need that kind of the families. and it's like a kind of all the times concerning to the others. And then it's the others we appreciate very much. And therefore we call the meaning of the Dharma. If you really to practice Dharma, serious to the Dharma, and it's like a kind of the self-development of the positive things, to become kind in his body, kind speech, kind mind. And also to study openness, tolerance, to understand how it is the situation, the feature of the universal, feature of the outer appearances, the feature of the inner our own appearances, the inner scope of the, how do you say, it's like the manifestation, or it's like kind of the situation of our own body, speech, mind. Am I like this? I'm like this. Okay, I recognize myself, how it is this, which kind of person, and like this. And then it's like more positive development, and the such is the benefit for others and to ourselves. And therefore someone's practice Dharma should to be like this. And then it's the renunciation. Renunciation means it's like kind of a little bit hesitate. Hesitated means it's like, for example, in this we can to look at our realities relative in our societies. Of course, sometimes we call the very popular, like a common word, we're talking about the samsara and the nirvana. We're talking about many the samsaras. Samsara means like cyclic existence, like kind of the turning round and around, every day doing similarities, but it's endless. And also it's like kind of there are strugglings with our happiness, and also it's like a kind of there's disagreement and a lot of war, conflicting, and like this kind of in our society as such there is. And then it's like we have kind of the renunciation, sadness, this kind of situation. For example, sufferings. And in some is we can to say it's like a very much uncomfortable place. Maybe a lot of snakes, lot of different insects, wild beasts, and also it's like a kind of the unpleasant and like kind of worst prisoner, and like this kind of, then it's like the situation is not very good, and it's of course it's like in the prisoners, we not hate to the prisoner, but the situation of the prisoner is not very good. Therefore, samsaric sentient beings are our family. We need to help to them, but samsaric situation is not very good. We need to have renunciation. We need to a little bit hesitated. We can to take example. Sometimes when we eating times poison, some poisoned food, fruits, any kind of, looks like very delicious, and it's a sweet, nice smell like this. But when you eat, it's go to the stomach. Afterward, we have such pain, problems. Maybe we die. And then we need renunciation to avoid this kind of poisonous things. And therefore, we a little bit the samsaric sufferings should to have renunciation, should to have a little bit hesitated. I want to be free from these samsaric sufferings. You need to be free from the samsaric families. All our families needed free from the samsaric sufferings. And then it's like that is like maybe the entrance door of the Dharma. Maybe in the book is also said. And then is the body of the Dharma, it is the bodhicitta. Bodhicitta means the compassion, kindness, and the concern is like conservative minds, concerning the benefit for other sentient beings. And then authentic views. Authentic view is like most connect to the scientific way you can to say. And when we analyze this phenomena of the outer, in any kind of phenomena, and we need to analyze how it is really truly existent, also not truly existence, how it is the realities. The view, authentic view, means is to understand the really realities. For example, yesterday we was yesterday, how it is was yesterday. When we concern it today, yesterday is where is. Yesterday is become like a dreams, how it is. We don't know tomorrow, and it's like a kind of, surely we think about tomorrow, but it's tomorrow is like we don't know, and there's not truly existence. Then it's the presently, right now, what we are seeing, what we are thinking, what we are like kind of hearing, touching, and very much alive, fresh, and this situation. Then it's like what we have kind of the idea, that is the view. Maybe if someone says, this thing is truly existence. Someone says, oh no, this is not truly existence. And there are many descriptions, there are many kind of the explanations, but we need the authentic, genuine view, correct view. That's very important. And therefore, this is the like kind of title. Generally, is the short title is like advice to the Kunzang Chögyal. That therefore, and then it's like I'm going to continue, and we need to finish it. Maybe it's today, or tomorrow. Maybe it's quite easy, and it's just very much helpful for your practice. If you really to practice, this book is you can to make pocket book. You can to carry here, and each moment to look at itself. It has, it is the beginning of the Dharma, in the middle of the like body of the Dharma, and then the principle of the Dharma, and the conclusions. Everything there is the pith advice, and the crucial advice is there, and therefore it's quite very important. And then it's like the principle in this text. That first there is a kind of the respect, honors. It's like kind of generally, it's to remind the kindness of the someone's to something to done to you and to us. And then it's like this is the way of the Buddha's teachings, and like this. And for the first Patrul Rinpoche, he's like kind of give education from his teacher, and his teacher is extraordinary great teacher. And he give basic educations, particularly point out that his true nature of the realities. And then afterward, and it's like when he remembered his teachers, like almost naturally tears coming, inconceivable inner experience and extraordinary realizations occurring because of his own teacher. And therefore, it's like before he wrote in this book, and he chose to remind his own teacher, and first sentences, he said the magnificent embodiment of the compassion and blessing of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And bounteous Lama, or the teacher, you can say, really a perfect Buddha, please remain forever as my the inseparable crown ornaments. Of course, each individual perspective, your own, like kind of the Dharma spiritual friend or Dharma the teacher, it is the individual perspective, it's the living Buddha. And because it's like your individual teachers to taught to you how it is the arrangement all this life, wordly or it's like dharmally, and particularly point out the true nature of the realities. And in that perspective, it's like it's like embodiment of the compassion and blessing of all the Buddha and Bodhisattvas, past, present, futures. We can to say it's like past Buddha Shakyamuni is appeared into in India, but we wasn't there, and it's difficult to meet now. And of course, his teaching is excellent, he left to us, but without a teacher, it's difficult to study. It's a very profound, deep, large. And then it's like a future Buddha, we don't know who will. And then it's presently, of course, maybe there are such like mankind realization, compassion, there is, but who we meet, it is like that person is like the most kind person said. For example, we can to say it's like make the joke, okay? But when you are like a sweet, excellent, good persons meeting together, man or woman, and then it's like they are falling in love and they want to be together, and then it's sharing the life, they're sharing the happy, they're sharing the everything, respect each other, and like fully kind of the dedicated to each other. And then it's in your life, it's the most kindness this person. It doesn't matter your partner is beautiful or the handsome or the rich, or doesn't matter. It's your partner, so the offer to you is like kind of the heart, compassion, kindness, and this person is the really embodiment, the happiness, embodiment of the everything. And it's like when you are happy times, this person's support to you. Suffering times, this person's support to you. Any kind of situations we can to rely on, and this person to taking care. Maybe it's better than your mother and father. Maybe it's better than your children's. And in this perspective, then is your partner is the best man in this world. It is the truth. And this is the good situation. It's the same as the relationship between the student and the teachers. And when we met the good teacher, compassionate teacher, intelligent teacher, and really realizations teachers, and then these teachers really to, how do you say, it's like a kind of the concern in our inner development of the qualities and the thinking about the situation, and these teachers how to give education to the student, how to bring this student to be in the enlightenment. And in this perspective, our own individual teacher, it is like the embodiment of all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas. It's like kind of the says the bounteous teacher really is like our own individual perspective. It's like perfect Buddha. And he said, remain forever. You are like kind of my crown, and to be in the all the times my head, and to remind to me about my practice things. He's like kind of to bow or the homage and to respect to in his teaching. And then is the next one is the start of the books. And this book is like first a little bit there are preliminary kind of the analyses and like this, and then is the principle and sadhana. How does the principle this book is what is talking about. First is like these sentences is like more talking about the renunciations. And for example, those who are the real, aware that samsara is an evil environment, just like a basket of the poisonous snakes, and who wish to set out on the perfect path to liberation, all practice like this. This is like kind of commitment. He says like how you can to practice like this. But first time you should to think about your the container of the samsara, and how it is situations. Maybe he said it's like a kind of evil environment. This is like very much in the relative, like dualistic perspectives. Dualistic perspective, of course, it is true. Samsara is an evil environment. Why? Because we are killing each other, war, natural disaster, sickness, old age, sickness, death. There are such and such, and like kind of the suffering things. But this is we need to analyze, and then it's like how we can do. It is like just a basket of the poisonous sticks. For example, maybe it's like full of the snake, in the snake, the nest. If we fall inside, all these snakes go out of the butt, and then we cannot to rest there, cannot to be peace like that. Like this, it's in the release out in the samsara. It's sometimes it's the truth. Of course, we are very much relaxed, joy, and also follow the entertainment, looking for the pleasures. It's true. This is good, positive things. But our body is like kind of the water bubble. It's very much fragile. And also all the things are the really, really uncertainties, like kind of the morning frost or the foggy. It's something is appear, but maybe each moment easily to disappear. And really it's like each moment we need to taking care. Even though we are holding the one hot coffee or tea, we need to hold it carefully. We need to drink also carefully. We burn, or maybe it's like small things. We all the times nervously, depressedly, a little bit carefully. We all the times mindfulness. We need to taking care of them. It's like our body is a water bubble. Something is like small things. Something happened. It's very easily disappeared, and therefore, generally talking about the samsara and the relative dualistic perspective, samsara is like this. And who wish to set on the liberation path, who wish, if someone's, that is very important, who wishes, if someone interest, someone has a wish, then you can to like settle the perfect path of the liberation in the mind. Someone's like no interest, it doesn't matter. I like kind of for my like perfect Buddha, maybe football match. And for example, me is like my liberation is watching television, and every day it's like different movie. That is my liberation. But finally, it's destroying my eye and the brain and become the confusion. But it's like this kind of situation who can to correct. And many in this world, our human existence says like, no, I can't manage, it doesn't matter, where can I go? Need to stop this like kind of killing, stealing, doing sexual misconduct, of negative. I don't care. I don't believe any causality. Of course, we can to say that causality is not nothing something existent in the both. Causality is everyday our activities. For example, say it's like when we drink tea, and there we're talking about delicious and undelicious. That is the causalities. Some tea is making the delicious. Why? Because of the causality. And when we drink the tea, it's taking away the thirsty. That is the causalities. And we have become more kind, more to changing process, more happiness. That is the causality. We is doing negative things. Don't care. Drink and smoke and doing funny things against the law, against the human qualities, and then worse and worse. That is like anyway, is the relative causalities, like a kind of, you don't need to talk about direct to see in our life situations. And therefore, if someone's really want to kind of settle up and the perfect liberation path, then all the practices like this, he says like afterwards, then his commitment, but maybe we can just stop 5 minutes, drink a tea. You are just very quiet. Maybe it's, I say something wrong. Sorry. It's if I'm saying something wrong, this person's what is saying, blah, blah, blah.